अहमद start करें?
हाँ मैम कर दीजिए।
Is about power sharing. Now, when we say power sharing is when we share the power, right? So, what kind of power and how do we share it? We'll have a quick look on it. So, today's objective is to understand the division of power. How do we divide the power among different units so that there can be smooth functioning of the governance in the country. Now, to understand the size and location of Belgium, because we will be understanding it with the case study of Belgium today. Now, also we will try to understand the ethnic composition of Belgium and also to understand the constitutional setup and the accommodation of differences that were taken care of by the Belgian government. So that is the objective for today's session. Now, when we talk about power sharing, you have already learned about the democracy, what is democracy, what is the functioning, what are the features of democracy, how is power divided, right? So there is vertical division of power and there is horizontal division of power. Now, when we say horizontal division of power, the power is divided into legislature, executive, and judiciary, right? So all the organs of the governance, they work or function according to the rules laid down in the constitution, right? So these three organs, they judicial is independent of the other two organs where there is no political influence, whereas legislative makes the laws and the executive executes it, right? So grade 9 also you have learned about the different aspects of democracy. Now, to understand power sharing, we will be taking two case studies in this chapter. One is Belgium and the other is Sri Lanka. To understand how civil war or how conflict can arise when there is disturbance in sharing of power or when there is non-equal distribution of power, right? So here today we are taking the case study of Belgium. Now, when we say Belgium, it is a small country in Europe. It's the area is even smaller than the state of Haryana, right? It has borders with uh, France, Netherlands, Germany, and Luxembourg, right? The population of Belgium is a little over 1 crore. That means about half the population of Haryana. Okay? Are you all able to see my slides, children?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
So very important to understand here the neighbors of Belgium. It is sharing its border with France, Netherlands, Germany, and Luxembourg. Moving further, now, how is the community setup in Belgium happens? So, the ethnic composition of this country is a little complex. Now, here to understand, it is very important to know that the total population is divided into distinct groups, of which 59% people live in the Flemish region and they speak Dutch. Another 40% people live in Wallonia region and they speak French. You can see on the map the Flemish region with yellow shading and the Wallonia region with the red shading. And then in the center, it's the capital Brussels, where before we move on to Brussels, there is a small shaded part towards the right hand side. That is the region where that is 1% people speak German. Right? Now, moving on to the capital city, Brussels, 80% of the people speak French, while 20% people speak Dutch. So where when we talk about the main country, the land mass, 59% of the people live in the Flemish region. That means the yellow part, which is a smaller. So 59% of the people live in the Flemish region, but they speak Dutch. 40% of the people live in Wallonia and they speak French. It's opposite in the capital city where 80% of the people speak French while 20% speak Dutch. Children, it is very important, this slide. You should really understand it well, that in the whole country, there is different in the ethnic composition. So first 59% people who are living in the Flemish region, they speak Dutch language. Another 40% people living in Wallonia region speak French language. Remaining 1% of the Belgian people speak German. That is the shaded part, the blue lines that you can see. Now, in the capital city, Brussels, 80% of the people speak French, while only 20% of the people speak Dutch, right? Moving on to the composition of Belgium. So this is how it is, the composition is. So you can clearly see the yellow part is the French speaking. The red part is the Wallonia French speaking. Sorry, the yellow part is Flemish, Dutch speaking. Red part is Wallonia, which is French speaking. The small center, the circle kind of thing is the capital region, where the people are only 80% or 20% speak Dutch and 80% speak French, right? And then the shaded part, which is towards the right hand side, is the Germany speaking region. Now, with all that differences in the composition, how the power sharing is accommodated in Belgium, Belgium is a big question mark. So the minority of the French speaking community is rich or richer and powerful than the Dutch speaking community. That means the 40% of the people who are French spoken, they are rich and more powerful than the 59% people who speak Dutch language. Right? Now, moving further. Now, with all these differences in the composition led to the tensions between the Dutch speaking and the French speaking, because French, as they are lesser in number, but they are more rich and powerful. So what happened was, during 1950s and 60s, the tension between the two communities were more acute in Brussels. So Brussels presented a special problem. The Dutch-speaking people constituted the majority, but the minority in the capital. So it's very complex, isn't it? So there is 80% people who speak French in Brussels, whereas it is opposite in the whole country, right? So this is very complex. Now and we will not be comparing all this with Sri Lanka now. Once we understand the Belgian model first, and then we will move on to the Sri Lankan model, how it was in Sri Lanka, and then we will do the comparative study in the next session. But today we will understand the Belgian model so that there is no confusion. You understand it better, right? Now, just imagine what could happen in the situation like this. So in Belgium, the Dutch community could take the advantage of its numeric majority and force its will on the French and German speaking population because they are more in number, right? So this could further lead to the conflicts, right? Now, the people will then struggle to get rights in the country. So how will this be accommodated? The Belgian leaders took a different path. They recognized the existence of regional differences and cultural diversities. So between 1970 and 1993, they amended their constitution 4 times. Children, very important, one more question is asked over here. how many times the Constitution of Belgium was amended. So between 1970 to 1993, they amended their constitution 4 times. That would enable everyone to live together within the same country. Now, the arrangement they worked out is different from any other country and is very innovative. Now, what are the key elements of their model? So some elements of the Belgian model are: the constitution prescribes that the number of Dutch and French speaking ministers shall be equal in the central government. So the central government that is formed will have the equal representation from both the communities, the Dutch speaking and the French speaking. So when we say language, when we emphasize on the language spoken by the people, we mean by it as linguistic groups, right? So linguistic is the language part. So when we are emphasizing on equal representation of people who are Dutch speaking and French speaking, that means we're talking about language. So that means the linguistic groups, right? So some special laws were required where they support the majority of the members from each linguistic groups. So there won't be a single community that will take the decision unilaterally. Okay? Right. Then moving further, many powers of the central government have been given to the state government of the 2 regions of the country. So the state government are not the subordinate of the central government, right? So they have the specified power. So that means here they have reduced the power of the central government and they have given that power to the state government. That means now the state governments are not the subordinate of the central government. Now, Brussels has a separate government in which both the communities have equal representation. Because in the central government, there was equal representation of both the language groups. So Brussels has the separate government, but this government has the equal representation of again both the communities. The French-speaking people accepted equal representation in Brussels because Dutch-speaking community has accepted the equal representation in the central government. So now both of the places in the country, when we are talking about central governance, there also there is equal representation of both the languages. And when we are talking about the government at the in the capital, there also there is equal representation of both the communities. Now, moving on to the next point, which is apart from the central and the state government, now there is a third kind of government. This is termed as the community government. Now, what is this community government? This community government is first of all elected by the people belonging to one community, belonging to one language community, that is the Dutch, the French, and the German. So no matter where they live, what language they speak, they form the community government. Now this community government has the power regarding the cultural, educational, and language related issues. So all the issues that are related to their language, culture, education was taken care by the community government. So now there are 3 different kinds of government. One is the central government with equal representation. The second is the government at the capital, which is at Brussels, again with the same representation from both the language groups, which is the French and the Dutch. Now the third government is the community government that is elected by the people belonging to the any of the languages speaking community, which no matter where they live, right? So this government has the power regarding cultural, educational, and language related issues. Now this model was a little complicated, not little, but very complicated. It indeed was so complicated even for people living in Belgium. But to our surprise, this model has worked out so well that when many countries came together to form European Union, Brussels was chosen as its headquarters, right? And there was no civic strife between the two major communities and the division, which could have led to the division of the country. Right now, before we move on to the outcomes of the constitutional design, Ahmed, please play the video. Ahmed, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Ahmed, please play the video.
First of all, stop your screen sharing.
Yeah, just a second.
First one, no, ma'am.
First one, then the second one.
Observe the maps of Sri Lanka and Belgium. They show the distribution of various ethnic communities in both countries. The majority in Sri Lanka are the Sinhalese, who make up about 74% of the population. The Tamil are the minority, making up 18% of the population. On the other hand, Belgium has two communities. The Dutch-speaking population constitutes 59% and the French-speaking constitutes 40% of the population. The remaining 1% are German-speaking. However, in Brussels, the capital of Belgium, 80% of the population is French and 20% Dutch, even though it lies in the Dutch-speaking region. There was a conflict between the majority and the minority groups in both countries. If the majority were to force their views and opinions on the minority, it could cause a split in the country. Let's see how each of these countries dealt with the problem of ethnic differences. Click the country's map to find out more. To accommodate the interests of the two communities, the central government was formed so as to have an equal number of members of both the communities. This reduced conflicts during decision making. The state governments in both the regions have independent decision-making powers and are not subordinate to the central government. Brussels, the capital city, had equal representation of both the communities. The majority of French-speaking people in Brussels accepted equal representation, as the Dutch accepted the same in the central government. A third government body was formed, called the Community Government. The representatives in this government are elected by people belonging to that language wherever they may live. This government looks after the cultural, education, and language-related issues. Although complicated, this model gave good results, with both the communities living in peace and harmony. This sharing of power model was recognized by the world when Brussels was chosen as the headquarters of the European Union.
Then, ma'am.
Done. So now moving back to my slide. Now, what was the outcome of this arrangement that Belgians had? So these arrangements have helped to strive between the two, help to avoid the civic strife between the two major communities. Now that could have this has also avoided a possible division on linguistic lines. That means the country could have been divided based on the languages spoken by the people. The leaders realized that the unity is possible only by respecting the feelings and interests of the different communities and regions. Now, such a realization resulted in mutual understanding and sharing of the power so that all the conflicts could be avoided. So they avoided all the different kinds of conflicts, right? So we'll quickly recap the points that we have discussed. We have discussed the division of power. So you already know the division of power happens horizontally and vertically. Horizontally, it's the different organs of the government, that is the legislature that forms the laws, the executive that implements the laws, and the judiciary that takes care of the law and order, the justice part in the country. When we talk about the vertical division of power, it happens with the division of power between the different levels of the government. That means the union government to state government to the local self-governing bodies that comprise of the Gram Sabha and the panchayats and all, right? So that is how the division of power happens. Now this division of power helps in the proper sharing of power between each organ and each level. To understand, we took the model of or the case study of Belgium today, where we understood the size and location of the Belgium. We also understood the ethnic composition of the Belgium, and then we moved on to the constitutional setup and how the differences were accommodated in Belgium. So for this, they have amended their constitution 4 times between 1970 to 1993. The constitution prescribes equal number of Dutch and French representation in the government. They do not do any differentiation here. So equal representation in both the government, whether it was the government that was in the center or the central government, or whether the government formed in the capital, so that no single community can make decisions unilaterally. The state governments are not the subordinate to the central government. Then the third type of government that we saw was the community government, right? So Brazil had separate government in both the communities with equal representation, and this third government, that is the community government, had the that was elected by the people belonging to one language community, and that would take decisions related to education, culture, and all. Right? Now, this arrangement has helped to avoid civic strife between the two major communities and has also avoided a possible division of the country on linguistic lines. So this was all about in today's session about Belgium. Now, in the next session, we will be learning about Sri Lanka, how the ethnic composition of Sri Lanka was, and what happened with the framework of constitution that they had, the laws adopted by their government. So what happened, what it led to. So all that we will understand in the next session about Sri Lanka. And then we will also compare both the countries, the Belgium model and the Sri Lankan model, to understand the differences between the both and the outcome that both the countries have attained due to their constitutional setup. Right? Now, when this is done, I have a small quiz for you all. So just give me a moment.
Right.
So here is a question. 1% of Belgians speak this language. Which language?
German.
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 Okay. German. Yes. The next question is, which language do people living in Wallonia speak?
Dutch.
Ma'am, Dutch.
French.
Pranavi, you tell me.
French.
Ma'am,
Which
French.
language do people in Wallonia speak?
ma'am, it's French.
Okay. Next is, why did the French-speaking people accept equal representation in Brussels when they are in majority? This will be answered by Jill. Come on, Jill.
Second, the last one.
The Dutch accepted equal representation in central government. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Pranavi?
Yes.
Yes,
Ma'am,
Yes.
Ah, what is
ma'am.
your answer?
ma'am, it's the third one.
It's the third one. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it is the third one. Next question. The Constitution of Belgium was amended for how many times? So this Vivek will tell me.
4 times.
4 times. Okay. Next. Which languages is spoken by the people in the Flemish region of Belgium? Vaishnavi.
Ma'am, it's Dutch.
Flemish region. Yuvika.
Dutch.
Ma'am, Dutch.
Yuvika.
Ma'am,
Okay,
it's Dutch.
Dishita. Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next is, people is speaking this language constitute a majority in the country, but a minority in the capital of Belgium. So this will be answered by Sophia. Come on, Sophia. Varda.
Ma'am, I
Come
think
on.
it's French.
It is
Yeah.
French.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you sure?
No.
Yes.
Darmin?
This language
Ma'am, I
constitutes
think
a
it's
majority. Ma'am, it's French.
German.
Darmin, what are you saying?
B.
B, German. So is it German or
Should be
French?
French. It's French, ma'am.
It's
Ma'am, can I answer?
What?
Should be Dutch.
Dutch?
Yes, it is Dutch.
People speaking this language constitute a majority.
In the country, but a minority in
Oh,
Belgium.
Okay.
Right? So that was all for today's session. Yeah. So I hope you have understood the whole session. Any doubts here?
No, ma'am.
Children?
No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So
I have a doubt.
who?
Kwarta.
Havarda, what happened?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, could you please explain the difference between central government and the government formed by Brussels? The difference.
My dear, when we are talking about the central government had the equal representation from both the communities. When we say both the communities, that means the Dutch is speaking and the French is speaking both.
Yes, ma'am.
When we talk about the whole country, the total population, 59% of it who is living in the Flemish region speaks Dutch language, but the 40% who is living in Wallonia speak French. Right? So there was a difference between the composition and the languages spoken by the people. So when the central government was formed, the people from both the communities had equal representation in the governance. Same way, when we talk about Brussels, that's the capital city, 80% people speak French here and 20% of the people speak Dutch here. Now, when we are talking about the government that is formed here, again, there is difference in the number or the composition of the people in this community. So 80% French is speaking and 20% Dutch is speaking. But here also, when the government was formed, it was formed with the equal representation of both the linguistic groups.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other doubt here?
Akshita ma'am,
Yes, my dear.
you said that in Belgium both communities had an equal representation in the parliament.
Yes.
But what about the German population?
German people were also there, but when we are talking about the community government, the third kind of government, they were included there because they were just 1% of the people who were speaking German language. So in the community government that was formed, they participated in that.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Any other doubt here?
No, ma'am. No more doubts.
No,
ma'am.
So today only you will be making the mind map or the notes, or you will summarize the topic. So in the next session, we will be discussing the Sri Lankan model, and then we will be moving further on the why power sharing is desirable, then the moral reason and the prudential reasons and all that we will be discussing in the next session, right? Forms of power sharing. So all that. So it is very important that you summarize the points today. It can be in the form of mind map or the notes that you make. It can be anyways, it is for me. But making the notes is very important. Make sure you revise and do it today itself so that there is no confusion. Because the model is complex with the difference in the different ethnic groups, right? So do it today so that there is less confusion when you revise it tomorrow. Because next session, when we are taking the Sri Lankan model, I'll be asking you questions related to Belgium model. Because we'll be doing the comparative study of both the models in the next session. Then you shouldn't think, okay, what was that? You shouldn't be taking time to think and then tell me the answer. Okay?
Yes,
Where
ma'am.
is Jyotsna there today? I've not heard her.
Ma'am, I am.
Jyotsna there?